Greetings, my people. Anna Renee here, and I am your love powered goddess. And today it has dawned. The time of Scorpio has come down upon us. Scorpio time. And so I am about to do a reading from our brother Reuben Shamrani of Ancient Astrological Secrets of the Jews Revealed for Scorpio. Scorpio, 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 Scorpio. Yes! And I'm so very happy to do so, my people. So yes, for all of you very patient scorpions who have hidden under that rock in the sun, in the desert, and waited patiently, blessings of love and peace to all of you all. You know who you are. Alright, so let's get down to this. And my people, today I decided to just come straight at you. I'm not going to set up beautiful, whatever you call that, with all the different pictures of Scorpio stuff, because this is going to be my second time reading this. I read it using a microphone that I never tried before. Downloaded it. They said it was free. Okay. Lucky microphones or whatever. Lucky whatever. And then when I go to find the file, okay, when I go on the app itself, yeah, there's the file. But when I try to go on and find the file, I can't find the file anywhere. I'm going to reread it. Well, what can I say? They got me. Alright, just going to use a regular camera here. And this is UCam, and it better be official. Yeah, I found out that it's nice and beautiful for the UCam, so here I am, looking gorgeous. Alright, my people, let me stop BSing here and read chapter 11 of Ancient Astrological Secrets of the Jews Revealed by astrologer Reuben Shamrani for the sign of Scorpio, the 8th sign in the zodiac. And this is what he is saying to all of you beautiful Scorpio people. Okay? Scorpio, the Scorpion, October 24th through November 22nd. And yes, my own son is a Scorpio. Yes. I will leave it at that. Ruling intelligence of sign, Dan, power, force. Planetary ruler, Mars, which is governed by the Sephira Madamiel. Vehemence, zeal, driving energy with ever-present possibility of excess. Great constructive dynamism, may go to extremes, become destructive force. Kabbalistic number 5. The specific qualities endowed or particularly emphasized by each of the signs' decanists are as follows. October 24th through November 2nd inclusive. Setbacks, enmity, hostility from others. November 3rd through 12th inclusive. Positive forces, upward movement. November 13th through the 22nd inclusive. Sensuality, sexuality, and violent temper. Scorpio and Pisces are the two signs that prove most baffling to modern astrologers. As we shall see in a subsequent chapter, their puzzlement over Pisces is largely a result of the arbitrary substitution of Neptune as the ruling planet of the sign for Saturn, which holds dominion under the ancient system. But in the case of Scorpio, both old and new doctrines hold Mars to be the planetary ruler. Therefore, we cannot ascribe the confusion and bafflement of the moderns to misunderstanding brought about by capricious shifts of a sign rulership. The reasons are not difficult to pinpoint. However, popular astrologers of our own era tend to skirt around or gloss over the negative qualities and traits endowed by the 8th sign and its planetary ruler. Failing to take these into full account, They are unable to define and delineate adequately or accurately. The ancients were far less circumspect and delicate. They acknowledged that Scorpio is a sign of violent extremes and very often of violence. Their writings reveal the wide cleavage between the two types of Scorpio natives, positive and negative. Indeed, many sources frequently use eagle and serpent as an alternate symbol for the sign. The eagle stands for the highly evolved positive type. The serpent symbolizes the afflicted or negative type. Chaldeans, Egyptians, and Hebrews were unanimous in asserting that people born under the 8th sign of the zodiac do fall into one of two antipodal categories. In all fairness, it must be said that the theory was carried forward to some extent by astrologers of the Middle Ages and Renaissance period. However, some of their interpretations were totally erroneous and not infrequently absurd. Take, for example, the teachings of Petrus Maynardus, famed 16th century professor of medicine at the University of Padua, who declared that only male scorpions could contract syphilis. Maynardus postulated the theory of syphilis as a disease of Scorpionus. And this view prevailed for a very long time in many quarters. Whew. Backwardness is a trip, I tell you what. Astrology, as we find it in the books of the ancient Hebrews, make no such preposterous charges or claims. It is the distillate of the knowledge and experience of Chaldeans, Egyptians, and Hebrews of antiquity, who succeeded in defining and understanding the traits and qualities of Scorpio in terms of benign versus malign types. They determined that positive Scorpios possess a myriad fine qualities, among them strength of body, mind, and nervous system, great energy, tremendous willpower, a high order of intelligence, penetrating insight, tremendous intensity, enterprise, resourcefulness, and leadership. Then, in negative types, they found these and other malevolent qualities: intolerance, brooding and fierce vindictiveness, corrosive jealousy and envy, irrational possessiveness, furtive secretness, dishonesty, cruelty, and treachery. Scorpios were often referred to as people of the East, devious, inscrutable, having no regard for human life, willing to destroy all in order to gain their own immediate goals. We find many references to Scorpio the Scourge in ancient astrological works. You, the individual. Old Testament, Kabala, and Zohar all associate Scorpio with the tribe of Dan, which led the march of the Israelites. Scorpio is a sign of leadership. Natives of the 8th sign are very frequently pioneers, explorers, individuals who have the drive and courage to go first, break new ground, essay that which has not been tried before. Vied Scorpios Theodore Roosevelt, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, and Pablo Picasso to obtain an idea of the range of Scorpio pioneering and trailblazing. Unfortunately, many of you 8th sign natives tend to be conservative. You do not lack courage or imagination. You simply have an innate reluctance to depart from established paths for fear of somehow violating prevailing mores and thereby earning ridicule or disapprobation. Here We approach the outer fringes of some very common 8-sign contradictions and conflicts. Scorpios are ambitious, courageous, determined, and enterprising, but they have great pride and they are hypersensitive. They fear injury to that pride and are likely to sulk or be angrily resentful if they feel that pride is being hurt. This leads to a suspicious fear of plots and cabals. You Scorpios are often apt to imagine that people are combining against you when no such thing is true or even contemplated by anyone. And let me interrupt here to say that sometimes I feel this very way. I tend to have a suspicious mind. I just am distrustful of people's intentions. Or maybe it's I don't know what it is. I just feel like I really don't know just yet. I'm not even Scorpio. I'm Sagittarius, and I don't remember where Scorpio falls in my chart. I need to look at my chart to figure this out, because a lot of times I just feel like there's always some underlying thing, and I just can't trust what's on the surface. It can't be a good thing. Anyway. Now, taking all the foregoing into consideration, we must somehow try to reconcile it with the resourcefulness and initiative of Scorpio. Kabala and Zohar characterize the Scorpio person as one who is a law unto himself. 8-sign natives are seldom concerned with what others may think of their decisions and actions. They do not seek the advice or counsel of others, but make their own choices, pick their own courses of action, and do both very forcefully. How does this square with that strange Scorpio conservatism that holds 8-sign people back from doing what they fear might be too radical or iconoclastic? Well, it doesn't. Not really. It is one of the serious and continuing conflicts that so many of you Scorpio people are forced to resolve for yourselves. Obviously, when you do, ambition and drive can assert themselves and carry you to success in whatever you attempt. There are many other facets to your complex Scorpio personality that makes it difficult for the average popular astrologer to make a reliable analysis of your sign. You are practical, acutely aware of the importance of money and material success, and yet you are deeply philosophical and introspective. You have great patience and a volcanic temper. At the same time, you have more willpower than the native of any other zodiacal sign, and when your mind has been made up, you can achieve almost complete control over your feelings and emotions. This, despite of emotional intensity that has few equals, no superiors. Then, as just one more conflicting facet of personality, you have the capacity to cool even the most fiery emotions, if you believe that by displaying them you might somehow lower your pride defenses. Scorpios should make a reassessment and reevaluation of their personalities in light of Hebrew astrological doctrine. This will go far toward explaining the gaps and contradictions that cause modern astrologers to be baffled by Scorpio. Perhaps the most important step is to take into consideration the influence of the Sephira Madamiel, which governs Mars, ruling planet of the sign. The qualities of the Sephira are clearly and fully described by Kabala, Zohar, and such commentators as Esdras. It is essential to understand that in ancient Hebrew, the word Mad, spelled M-A-A-D, or Mad, spelled M-A-D, connotes energy, vehemence, and passion that are carried to the point of excess. Our own word mad is said to derive from it. In Hebrew esoteric writings, the Madim, or spelled with one A, are vessels of wrath, These are forces that motivate or drive human beings to follow courses of actions that are destructive, and Madimio is the locus of these forces. Thus, you 8 sign natives must recognize that there are, to greater or lesser degree, destructive, or more accurately, self-destructive or self-defeating influences in your nature. These must be identified, controlled, or ideally eliminated altogether if the innumerable positive and constructive qualities of Scorpio are to emerge and become fully operative. Some of the destructive traits bestowed by malign influence of Madimio are intolerance, vindictiveness, envy, jealousy, suspicion, and even persecution mania. Find which of these or related negative influences are hindering your progress. Then apply that astounding Scorpio willpower to the task of overcoming them. Once this has been accomplished, there is no reason why you cannot become a positive Scorpio, whose success will equal that of such noted 8 sign natives as the following: Robert Louis Stevenson, Jonas Salk, Felix Frankfurter, Eugene Ionesco, Billy Graham, Burt Lancaster, Katharine Hepburn, Grace Kelly, and Joan Sutherland. I'm not surprised to learn that Billy Graham is a Scorpio. Wow, very interesting, being that he went super hard for Christ Jesus. Make the most of mind power. The Scorpio mind, if properly trained and used, has the power to prevail over almost any adversity in just about any type of situation. 8 sign intuition and perception are far above normal, much greater and more accurate than those to be found in natives of almost any other sign. Therefore, Scorpios enjoy a very considerable advantage in all their activities, for they are able to see through even the most elaborate sham and camouflages that would deceive others. Very interesting, Scorpio. Then, of course, you Scorpios possess those tremendous powers of will and self-discipline, coupled with your native intelligence, which is usually above average and not infrequently phenomenally high. You possess all the potentials for achieving almost any end you desire through the exercise of mind power. Your main problems are that you tend to overdo your reliance on intuition, and that you also tend to overreact. In the former instance, it's typically Scorpio to be overly doubtful, suspicious, and sardonic. In the second instance, you're likely to be the type who is not satisfied by the Old Testament eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth formula. It's much more probable that you will demand the whole head in return for an eyelash. And not at all impossible that you'll even want the neck, arms, and torso too. Hebrew astrologers repeatedly warn Scorpios that they must not always seek to be devious, furtive, and secretive, although they acknowledge that there may be occasions when reasonable amounts of all 3 of these may be in order. Their injunction to 8 sign natives calls attention to the dangers inherent in carrying things to the extremes where others will recognize them as customary patterns, as normal behavior on Scorpio's part. The net result is inevitably mistrust of Scorpio motives, disbelief of Scorpio words and promises. Obviously, a person who is neither trusted nor believed cannot expect to accomplish much in a world where there must be dealings with others. Actually, you should be very happy, Scorpio. You have all the basic mental equipment you could reasonably want or need. You have the mind power to attain and accomplish. Realizing this, you should also realize that There is no real need for you to be negative in thought. You can afford to be more direct and more straightforward than others in most situations. For no matter how they try to fool you, they cannot, and in any event, you will most probably outthink them. Interacting with others. The ancients emphasized that Scorpio natives were dominant, forceful, and dynamic, and that they possess very many qualities that are prerequisites for leadership. Scorpios are anything but gregarious people. They need and want comparatively few friends, and they select these with great care and only after a long trial period. The principal bar to easy and rewarding interaction with others for natives of the eighth sign is their tendency to be domineering and possessive. Scorpios demand absolute obedience, even while they find it very difficult to obey orders given by others. You, Scorpio, are fiercely loyal and devoted, but in return, you demand as much and more. You take any disobedience to be a betrayal of your friendship, and very often you are not content until you have retaliated and revenged yourself. These are not qualities that endure, and many of your friendships and work or business associations fall apart as a result. Unfortunately, you do not learn lessons easily. It is next to impossible for you to admit that the fault might be your own. Instead, Scorpio nature being what it is, you are much more likely to become embittered and spiteful and assume an attitude that says no person can be trusted or considered a friend. Broadly speaking, Scorpios should be in executive or supervisory positions, or better still, at the top, running things, for they do not take well to discipline or the idea of having others give them orders or instructions. Of course, many eighth sign natives are far less than ideal in positions of leadership and command due to their tendencies to be domineering and tyrannical. Luckily, the majority of Scorpio natives sooner or later succeed in striking a viable medium in their attitudes towards friends, friendships, and business associations. While they remain selective and seldom have large number of friends, they do develop a reasonable degree of tolerance, cultivate a small circle of friends, and reach a point where they are able to interact with other people in order to achieve their goals. Romantic relationships. The ancients understood that sex is Scorpio's primary drive. Indeed, it is the elemental life force of those born under the sign. Whoa. Well, you know what? Not whoa, because we all knew this already. Alright, eighth sign natives have enormous erotic appetites, and they are often incapable of accomplishing anything at other levels in order or in other spheres of their existence and activities if these appetites are not satisfied. Wow. I don't know if I agree with that. That make it sound like you Scorpios are sex fiends, and that you can't function. That you just anyway. Kabala and Zohar are explicit in stating that Scorpio is the most highly sexed sign of the zodiac. Yeah, you guys have that rep. We all know that. Its natives are capable of sexual excesses that would be considered unthinkable by people of other signs. Furthermore, while they are usually restrained and selective in their platonic relationships, Scorpios have no inhibitions, abide by no restrictions in sexual and romantic situations. Wow. I don't know if that's a good thing, my Scorpio people, not in this day and age. You, Scorpio, are likely to have many affairs and romances. These will be characterized by great intensity at both physical and emotional levels. You tend to be extremely jealous and possessive. You consider infidelity as not only a betrayal but also as a mortal affront to your pride. Affairs and romantic relationships may not be long-lasting though. Scorpios tend to be sensualists, experimenters, and individuals incapable of long remaining sexually faithful to any one person. That's no, I don't agree with that. H-sign natives seldom encounter much difficulty in satisfying their desires. They are remarkably attractive to people of the opposite sex on a frankly physical level. They possess a sort of near animal magnetism that few can resist. Wow. Despite all this, you Scorpios are domestic creatures. How contradictory can you get? You love the home life, yet at the same time you want to go out and be with all kinds of different people. You love, but then you people are a very contradictory group of folk. Yeah. Anyway, let me finish. Okay. Despite all this, you Scorpios are domestic creatures. You want to marry, have a home, and center much of your attention on family. Scorpio males are protective and supportive husbands, and they are also jealous and possessive. They demand from their wives total commitment and absolute loyalty and devotion. They will not forgive any transgressions and are likely to magnify even the most minor into major offenses against pride and honor. On the other hand, the Scorpio husband will not hesitate to embark on numerous extramarital affairs. The female Scorpio is a good, fiercely devoted wife, but she too will be possessive and jealous. H-sign females also have a rather shrewd, calculating side to their natures. They will frequently marry for reasons other than just love, seeking a mate who will satisfy their desire for material security and comfort, as well as their sexual hungers. Now let me stop right there and just remind us that when we read astrology, that none of it, absolutely none of it, is something that is etched in stone. Okay, all of this that he's saying about Scorpio is just the basic layer, because this is just talking about Scorpio only. You can't really get the fullness, and I've said this before, you can't get the full measure of the person unless you're looking at their entire chart. We have to consider the entire wheel, because at the point in time we were born, okay, you may have been born under a Scorpio sun, but where was the moon at the exact same time that you were born under the Scorpio sun? Where was Mars? Okay, where was Venus? Where was Uranus? Where were the rest of the planets? You have to take all of that into consideration, okay? And then there is, when you're considering astrology, which is the wheel of life, it's just a way to put it, a very general way to put it. You have to look at the angles, the way different planets connect within the 360 degrees of the circle. Like if you're looking at the sky, and oh man, I can't try to go into all of that right now. Let me just say that there's a whole lot more you got to look at. You got to look at the other planets at the point in time you were born. You got to look at where the other planets were in comparison to each other in the sky at the time of your birth. And then on top of all of that, that only represents that moment in time when you were born. And that is just a snapshot, pretty much. Your chart, You can't just look at Scorpio. You got to look at the entire chart. And even once you do look at the entire chart, you're still only just looking at one particular snapshot, the exact moment in time when you were born, okay? And of course we know we're more than just who we were at the moment of our birth. We were babies when we were born. Of course we're going to grow and develop into more than that. The chart sort of just gives you an outline of where you were at the point in time you were born, to be honest, okay? Where can you develop from there? Our lives is the place where we do our developing, right? So although astrology is a beautiful thing and is very instructive, it's only a stepping stone to what it is that you can accomplish. This just sort of tells you things that you can look at to see if they pertain to you or not. They may not, okay? He's talking about Scorpios can't even live their lives unless their sexual situation is completely fulfilled. That's not true for everybody. We know that can't possibly be true for everybody, right? So I say all of that to say that you just have to take this with a grain of salt. You have to understand that it's not something that determines who you are. Boom, and that's it. And there's no growth from it. It's just not like that, my people. So all that I'm saying about Scorpio and all that he's saying here, just listen to it and see where you fit in. And if you fit in anywhere, that doesn't mean that that's you for the rest of your life, okay? All that means is that, okay, well, I know where I have to do some work. It just sort of helps you to know where you are, the possible place that you can be, and then you can move forward or be content where you happen to be. Compare yourself, and if it's good, then good. If it's not good, then you know what you can do, okay? That's all it is. All right. Yes, my people. A Scorpio wife who feels that she has been slighted or betrayed by her husband is unrelenting in her desire for revenge. See that statement right there? That's dramatic, isn't it? Unrelenting in her desire for revenge. It sounds like a soap opera. That can't be complete. All right? And it's possible that there are people who act like that. But that means that they have growth that they need to do. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that that's the way she got to stay. That Scorpio wife got to be like that for the rest of her life. She don't have to if she make the decision that she don't want to. It's simple as that, okay? Sometimes we take these things, when we do readings, people take readings to mean, boom, that's it. Etched in stone and never to be fixed in any other kind of way. That's not the way I'm going to do readings when I do my readings, okay? My readings are just a snapshot, okay? It's just a sand that happens to be right here at this point. There's nothing to say that the water won't come from the waves. A grain of sand. Then water won't come, the waves, and just move that grain of sand somewhere else. That's the way I'm looking at it. All right. In most instances, this manifests itself in retributive infidelity, exhibitions of volcanic temper, and shows of spite that can and do take almost any form. He's being extremely dramatic with that. Ben Ezra is but one of the many writers on Hebrew astrology who warns men about taking Scorpio females as wives. You see there? That the drama never stops. Right? He describes them as being extremely demanding, requiring constant demonstrations of affection and love, especially sexual love. He says that they will take any slackening of their husband's ardor as prima facie evidence of infidelity. Many commentators have advanced 3 rules which they maintain all Scorpios should follow when seeking a mate. Number 1. They should be certain that the person they marry is someone whom they respect and who has a good intellect. Without these qualities, no spouse will ever keep a Scorpio person happy and satisfied. Number 2. 8th sign people must always bear in mind that sex is of prime importance in their lives. They should choose mates whose erotic drives and capacities are equal to their own. And 3, Scorpio natives who hope to have lasting, happy marriages must learn to curb jealousy, possessiveness, and the tendency to dominate and domineer. Mastery in the material sphere. The ancients offered many reasons why Scorpio have exceptional potentials for achieving success in the material sphere of their existence. Talent, intelligence, ability, determination, and endurance are among the many qualities most often listed. Then, of course, such commentators as Esdras remarked on Scorpio's unique flair for controlling, or at least masking, emotions. This is obviously a valuable personality asset when involved in business dealings, as is the Scorpio trait that enables natives of the sign to divert attention from their true purpose and intent. In short, Scorpio is a formidable competitor in any situation involving business, finance, or the drive to achieve success in job or career. Usually, A-sign determination and willpower will carry the native over all obstacles to his or her goals. Business acumen and executive ability are notable Scorpio characteristics. People born under this sign are also inventive, original, adept at improvisation, and they are seldom, if ever, content to remain in low-paying or low-level positions. You Scorpio folk have many fields that are most favorably indicated for you. You do very well in base metals, mining, and refining industries. Machinery and machine tool manufacturer are also excellent, as are transportation, banking, investment, stock brokerage. Some other careers that have much to offer you are chemistry, physics, medicine, and psychiatry. Details by decanates. First decan, October 24th through November 2nd. Mars rules the decanate, creating a double Mars influence. Whoa. The planet also rules the sign, which does not make for the happiest of influences. Persons born during this period may experience disappointments and setbacks. They will encounter considerable hostility and opposition from others, largely due to their own inability to interact with other people. Natives of this decanate will progress to their goals more slowly than those born later in the astrological month. Second decan, November 3rd through the 12th. The sun rules here, and its benign influences do much to counteract any Martian malevolence. Persons born during this November 3rd through 12th period are the most favored of all Scorpios. They have strong positive forces propelling them forward through life. The direction of their progress is upward toward achievement and attainment. Venus holds dominion over the decanate. The combination with Mars, ruler of the sign, is not always fortuitous. Venus endows sensuality added to the sexuality of Scorpio nature is often creates an individual whose entire orientation is sexual, whose sole aim in life is the achievement of physical pleasure. The two planets may also create a clash, producing natives who have violent tempers or who have pronounced streaks of cruelty in their personalities. The Venus/Mars conflict was said by Ben Ezra to be responsible for producing the type of aberration psychiatrists much later labeled sadism. Okay, and there, my people, is the reading for the sign of Scorpio by our resident astrologer Reuven Shamrani of the book Ancient Astrological Secrets of the Jews Revealed. And yes, my people, as I just said, let us keep astrology and readings of any sort, all of these things, any sort, readings, whatever readings you get, let's keep them in the right perspective. Let's not look towards these things to hang our hat on and just fall back on with nothing. Just, well, I'm a Scorpio, so therefore that means I'm supposed to be a sex fiend, and so then go out and become sex fiendish. Okay, no, that's not the way that we should engage this stuff. Okay, astrology and numerology and just all of these ologies. Okay, psychology. Dang it, got a gnat in my house, it's bothering me. Anyway, making a big deal out of nothing right there. But yes, what I'm saying is that let us not take it too much to heart. It's just a place, a starting point. It's just something to look at. It's like, how can I compare it? Well, like I said, like one grain on the seashore that gets pushed by the wave. Okay, life. Okay, your determination to do whatever you choose to do with your life, and the way you go about doing it. In other words, your free will has the imminent control. Okay, God gave you free will, and so you have it. Yes, there are things God has given, many gifts, many ways that we can help ourselves to get a better read on ourselves, but not to lean on it out of laziness, in other words. Okay, my people. And so I hope you all enjoyed the reading from Ancient Astrological Secrets of the Jews Revealed. I have memorized the title of this book by our friend astrologer Reuben Shamrani. And there it is for you. I don't know what this means. What does it mean when you're reading the sign of Scorpio and there's a gnat that keeps flying in your face? What does that mean? That means something. Okay, my people. Peace to you, Scorpios.